everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fire Up. I hope we're all fired up tonight. Are we?
We sure are.
I'm fired up to see how many more penalties the Falcons will get.
They're on pace to have 16. They just got another one, and now I think Mike Evans just picked up a first down.
I've been riding a lot of energy with all the other stuff I've had to do tonight unexpectedly, but the reality is it's going to be an occasional guest on this show. Let Candy do her thing. So that's all good. Looking forward to see what you guys
have. We're welcoming our guest, the hostess with the mostest shows on our network. That would be Mr. Scott Morganroth, but he gives me the reins tonight. The Country Club, as he affectionately calls this show. And, of course, my co-host, Mr. Smokin' Jeremy B. How are you tonight?
Fantastic. It's been a good week.
Great. And then Samir, who was busy studying last week for finals, is back with us tonight. How are you, Samir?
I'm doing good. I'm glad that's over with. So,
did you get good grades?
I haven't found out yet. Hopefully, I did. I feel good about them. So,
no, if you feel good about them, that usually is a good sign. Because if you're coming in here going, I don't know, then we know it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
More power to you, Samir. I'm a long ways away, removed from my college days, although I did have to take a 215 exam to pass the Florida health insurance test. I actually got it on the first one at 70%, even in after the ripe age of 50. But I don't miss that studying. I enjoy what we do here. Keep up the good work, Samir.
Thank you.
Well, guys, since we last talked, there's been a lot of things happening in college football and a lot going on with college football. So let's start. Last weekend was a selection show. How are we feeling about who was selected, who wasn't selected? Should anybody feel neglected, or what are your thoughts on who made it in and who didn't?
Yeah, I understand at 10-2 that Notre Dame's upset, and I get it. But at the same time, the schedule they played, yes, they beat a couple top 5 teams, but they lost to, what was it, Northern Illinois?
That was last year, I think.
Was that last year? I still.
That was last year.
But they made the playoffs last year. They lost to another cupcake team this year to start the season. And they also had a top 25
lost to Miami. They lost to Miami, and didn't they lose to Florida?
Texas A&M. They lost to both of them. But they were close games. Nonetheless.
And I get it. What I didn't understand is, how does Alabama get boat raced in the SEC championship by Georgia, and they didn't move a spot? They stayed at 9. That's what I did not understand.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, they also lost bad to 5-7 Florida State week 1.
Yeah.
Well, what you had in week 1 though is Alabama. Let's face reality. Nobody knew what Florida State was going to get. They ended up riding the momentum of Tommy Castellanos, who transferred down, and Gus Malzahn, who's a heck of an offensive coordinator. And Alabama did not see that coming. And the reality is, the first game of the year, it was. Had that game had been played a few weeks later, the outcome was different. But Florida State surprised a lot of people, and they always say any team can win on every given day. Well, Alabama found out the hard way that you better be prepared for the opener, and Florida State snuck up on them is what they did. I was intrigued about Castellanos, let alone Gus Malzahn, because he did a good job at Central Florida.
And let's face it, they played Alabama to their defense. They played in the championship game where Miami and Notre Dame were both
What's the second all this? I got it.
Oh, it's on yours. It's not mine.
They're done. I don't know who it is, but
what I was going to say is Alabama played in the championship game. Notre Dame and Miami didn't play at all. It's hard to penalize a team that makes it to the championship game and then doesn't play well in the championship game when the other teams didn't even play. So I get, that logic there. Um, I will say to the college football playoff selection committee is I don't understand how and don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Miami is in and Notre Dame is not, but how do they leapfrog them in a week that neither of them plays? So, I mean, my question to you is why didn't they have Miami ahead of Notre Dame 2-3 weeks ago? Why did they wait till this last week to put them up and in? That's where
I think my only guess is they had to get an ACC team in there. I just don't know if the committee was willing to do a playoff without a team from one of the major conferences or from one of the Power Five conferences in. I think that's what it was about because if Notre Dame's in a conference, and I know this is kind of an overrated take, an overused one, but if Notre Dame's in a conference, I think easily they get in over Miami.
Okay. Okay.
Well, here's the deal. Head-to-head matters. Katie, we were at the game, right?
Yep.
Was it 27-24?
Miami beat Notre Dame.
Right. By 3. Miami really dominated throughout that game. I don't care if it's first game of the year or not. So what? Care. Head-to-head matters. And obviously, as you get closer to the championship games, obviously you want to see exactly where some of the other games play out before you ultimately make the final decision. At one point, Miami was eliminated, but that was a week prior. Now, a week later, they're in. Well, no problem. To show you how bizarre this season is, Manny Diaz wins a conference title. Miami doesn't. But Miami's in. But they played real well in the month of November where they notoriously don't play very well. But head-to-head matters. I don't care what anybody says. And in this particular situation, it did. It did.
I don't know how I got back. I blocked and removed.
Oh, I'm blocking them on mine. Now they try to come in on mine.
All right. Nevertheless, head-to-head matters. And Notre Dame better get it figured out because if they keep screwing around with the ACC, let them not forget that the ACC bailed them out for COVID-19 is what they did when they had nobody to play and they had a conference game to be affiliated with. And now they're acting like this. Give me a break. Head-to-head matters. Miami won. Next year, they'll play each other again, a game that Katie and I are hoping to get to in South Bend, a bucket list of ours. Go ahead.
So my question is, athletic directors in multiple colleges are threatening to freeze Notre Dame out of future schedules after learning about a memorandum of understanding deal that reportedly gives the Irish guaranteed playoff access starting next year if they finish in the top 12 of the final rankings. Critics argue that the deal gives an independent program special treatment while everyone else must navigate conference races and more challenging paths to the playoffs. They would use non-conference games as leverage to push the Irish toward joining a conference or to protest the perceived special treatment. What do you guys think?
So I don't know if I fully know, but what's the backstory behind them playing in being an independent team?
They get their own TV revenue from NBC.
Right. That is the main thing that's keeping them there because of that lifetime contract that Lou Holt and the athletic director of Notre Dame negotiated with NBC. They don't want to lose that contract money because it goes up by X amount percentage every year, and they don't have to share it with anybody. It's the same reason why we heard about a month ago that Michigan and USC, because they created their own network for their school, a private network, went out and got their own sponsorship, and they have to share. Each one of them makes $2.5 billion alone, and they have to share that with the rest of the Big Ten, which is why they've threatened to go independent. But what's happening to Notre Dame now, with teams threatening to leave them off the schedule, Michigan and USC are going to go, maybe sharing's not so bad.
Interesting points. Actually, you know what? I'm in favor of it. Freeze them out. So what? Yeah, freeze them out. I don't care. I think it's a great move because Notre Dame, that'll keep them out of the top 12. Then you won't have to enact that clause. The independent thing, I understand what they're doing with NBC. I totally get it. They're making money. They're putting it all in their pocket. The ACC bailed them out. You think you're going to, Big Ten says that you're all in or you're not. That's all there is to it, period. And the SEC is in a position of power. They could do that if they want to as well. So where does Notre Dame? You want to get even with the ACC when they saved your butt? Yeah, okay. I think they should. I think all the top teams. Then you talk about strength of schedule. Notre Dame's got big trouble. They open up a can of worms that they shouldn't have. They should have kept their mouth shut, bit the bullet, and gone to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. But because what happened with Notre Dame is when they got out of the bowls, then you had a domino effect on all these other teams got out of it. And there were some that really should have been it, like Florida State, that needed to get in. And all of a sudden the bowl season's upside down. There were way too many of them anyways. But that's for another day. So, get me wrong. Notre Dame's the top, one of the winningest programs of all time. But this is a different era of college football.
Right.
And if you're going to, it's like Pearl Harbor. Sorry, Jeremy. The Japanese made the first move at Pearl Harbor, right? And what happened? We got drawn into the war. Notre Dame, to me, is the Japanese in this case. And Pearl Harbor was everybody's getting into war. Okay, Notre Dame. Okay, you dropped the ball. You disrupted our system. Now we're going to retaliate. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So the 10 schools that decided to turn down bowl games this year, the biggest one was Notre Dame. Then it was Iowa State, Kansas State, Florida State, Auburn, UCF, Baylor, Kansas, Rutgers, and Temple. The funny thing is, outside of the first three I named, the rest of them are 5 and 7. And the only reason why they made bowl games is because they were the bowl games that nobody watched. They're the bowl games like in between Thanksgiving and Christmas where everybody's just like, we got the popcorn bowl and Mud City State, Mississippi, the little fields, the little stadiums. And yes, but what I hate about it is for the kids and the fans of the kids and the families, because the schools that decided to take these guys out of those bowl games, they're being denied that chance to have that special moment. What if that 5 and 17 does upset a 7 and 9, a 7 and 5 team or something like that in those bowls? That's what they're robbing these kids of the chance of doing and showcasing their talents that normally wouldn't be seen on a national stage.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, take it another step. 5 and 7 academic progress rate. I actually asked Zach Kitley over at FAU, right? What 5 and 7? They would have taken that bowl if they had done business and not got clobbered by East Carolina to go 4 and 8. I didn't have that many miracles in my pocket. Candy, even Katrina McCormick, remember she said, I got them into the Motor City Bowl and they ended up playing Central Michigan. I did some there. I pulled a few strings back in Metro Detroit. Jeremy will say I have a lot of connections up there and they got them in there. FAU would have gotten in, but the reality is academic progress rate is really what kind of gotten them in. And the Iowa State was 8 and 4 and they didn't go to 1. Matt Campbell, they're trying to get things going. That one is the most costly of the group. The other one probably nobody cared about. But here's the thing, Jeremy, I want to touch on some and build on what you're saying. Well, you know what I like about these bowl games, Jeremy and Samir Candy? It's an opportunity for kids to get more game film to impress the pro scouts. Another game against non-conference opponents. That's what bothers me the most. That's what I like about the bowl game. It's an opportunity outside of your conference. And because these bowl games have been in my fair share, are heavily scouted. And all these kids didn't get those opportunities. And that's what bothers me. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but the LA Bowl is going to be discontinued. This is the last year for it because of the uproar of the Pac-12 going out and everything that took place there. That was actually announced today, by the way.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 6 years gone, Pac-12. They don't care about the new Pac-12. They're figuring the fact that this thing that Rob Gronkowski was a part of is no longer there. The Bahamas Bowl would have been fun to go to. I would have loved to have taken Candy to that one. Even though they wouldn't have had any people, it still would have been a chance to get her down to the Bahamas. But that went down the toilet, and it's out in Texas under a different name.
So with that being said, let's look a little bit at the first round matchups. So the first round is, let's start with Let's go ahead and start with Miami against Texas A&M. What are we thinking about that
A&M's
game?
a little
I got to go with
Texas
Texas A&M.
A&M. They're a little bit more of a juggernaut. Carson Beck, you don't know if you're getting good Carson Beck or if you're getting
Trust him.
the bad version of Carson Beck anymore. From week to week, he's a different quarterback.
I'm going to go Miami because they're on house money in this game. I may be a homer. I'm guilty of that. I have no problem with it, but they're on house money. I figure I might as well be different. One of us got to be right next week if I go Miami. But the guy to watch for in this game is Malachi Tony. This kid's a speedster. He does it on special team, good wideout and all that. I was sad to see Ray Joseph actually go into the transfer portal. I had an opportunity to interview him, but he sees that all these younger guys are being brought into the mix and he'll have an opportunity. You'll watch out for the name Ray Joseph. But I'm going to be the homer. I'm going to say Miami's on house money. They have everything to gain, nothing to lose. And if they win, guess what? Candy and I, we're going to apply for the Cotton Bowl out in Dallas. So I'd like to see them there. I don't know whether it's only a weekend if that's what we're able to do. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to getting back out there. I love college football, going to the game. It's the other drama I can't stand. So I'm going to go Miami this time.
Okay. Ole Miss and Tulane.
See, I mean, I don't know how to navigate this game because simply due to the fact that Ole Miss is without their head coach.
Yep.
If they had Lane Kiffin, I would easily say Ole Miss, but he's not there. What kind of impact is that going to have on the team, whether in game, in practice? I'm sure they're not going to change much, but just makes you wonder with all the publicity, not only with the publicity surrounding Lane Kiffin leaving, but with I would say the effect it may have on the players. Like, what kind of impact is that going to have? Now, one way it could play to their advantage, possibly, is that now that Lane Kiffin isn't there and it's someone else, you don't know what the game plan is or how they're going to approach different things. Because although it's the same coaching staff, the same philosophy, it could be a different approach.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Jeremy, what's your thoughts?
So who are you going with?
I'm still going with Ole Miss.
I go with Ole Miss on this one too. I just feel like they're the better team.
Scott?
I'm going to go Ole Miss because Lane Kiffin's sending all of his offensive coaches over there is what he's doing so that they can keep the continuity there. Lane's not there, but the rest of his people are to finish what he started, let alone the fact that in his particular case, Lane Kiffin's got bonus money on the line because he's going to get paid by LSU if the team continues to win. So, yeah, I got to go Ole Miss. I hear the defensive coordinator is a pretty good coach. Hello, Kevin Taylor. Yeah, Michigan needs a coach. No kidding. Okay.
We'll get to that. James Madison versus Oregon. Samir.
Oregon.
Jeremy.
Oregon.
Scott.
I'll go Oregon, but guess what? Oregon's going to see James Madison's coach next year. Yeah, I got to go with Oregon.
Alabama, Oklahoma. Who you got?
I'm
Samir?
going.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'll give the edge to Oklahoma. I think it'll be a close one, though. I got to go with Oklahoma.
Jeremy?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma for a reason that nobody even knows here because it's something that I saw that is reported. Flight logs showed that Kalen DeBoer's daughter, who's a softball player for the University of Washington, was at the Michigan versus Ohio State game. Today, she unfollowed University of Washington softball and followed Michigan softball.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. But I think the way you have to see it is going from Alabama to Michigan, is that job really an upgrade? I mean,
it can't. Well,
it's the University of Alabama.
I'm going to say it is. I'll tell you why I say it is. I'm sorry, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Academically, yes. It's a way better place because you have a better class of students, and they have more options for the students than Alabama has. What is Alabama good at anymore? What do they produce other than football players?
Yeah, see, the academics between Michigan and Alabama is like night and day. It really is. I like the big block. Of course, I'm from the area, but that had nothing to do with it either. They're the all-time winningest program in Division One history. They have a lot of national championships, albeit a lot of more earlier, but they have a recent one. And the fact that Jim Harbaugh did defeat Nick Saban the last time that they met. So academically, Michigan is like no other. The number one. I think it is. Again, we'll find out whether Kalen DeBoer is the guy they ultimately land out to. But I like what Jeremy said. That's pretty interesting. I did not know that. So Paul Rick really nailed it on that one. There's a lot more to that situation that'll play out. And of course, DeBoer is familiar with Michigan. He was on the wrong end of a loss to him a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just don't know, because maybe I'm looking at it from a branding standpoint, because I kind of see Alabama as like the same as like the New York Yankee brand, or the Los Angeles Lakers brand.
What's weird is that it didn't become a brand until Saban.
Exactly.
It was gone. It was off the map for decades. So Roll Tide was big where? In Alabama before Saban made it a national name.
So yeah, I mean, I just don't know if I see that kind of move happening this late into the process, like from a move like that. But I mean,
but I heard that name and Jed Fish, the coach at Washington, are the two names at the top of Michigan's list right now that they've been targeting. And the weird thing is it came out also from Josh Pate on ESPN that agents of these coaches, the 5 coaches that have been named, have been contacted ever since Michigan was 4-2. They knew they were getting rid of Moore.
Interesting. I mean, the guy I'd like to see is Lance Leipold to get it personally. I think here's a guy who deserves it. He did some unbelievable things. University of Wisconsin Whitewater won 6 championships. He's getting lost over in Kansas. Lance Leipold brings championship pedigree, and he's built programs with integrity. But again, that's going to be an interesting list to see how it all plays out. The Michigan job is great, and I understand where each and every one of y'all are coming from. I really do. With any of the names, it'll be an interesting coaching search. That to me is a blue blood job. It really is. When Michigan starts calling, you should take it. The only dumb idiot I've ever seen is Les Miles, who should, when he had an opportunity to get the job, when they were interested in him, he didn't. What happened? They bring on Jim Harbaugh. Les Miles was out of coaching, and he was at Kansas and was awful there.
Here's the interesting thing about Jed Fish, and I'll leave it at that. That year that Cade McNamara had his best year at quarterback, Jed Fish was the offensive coordinator at Michigan under Harbaugh.
Oh, interesting. Great.
Here's one name. Here's a wild card.
Sure.
Now that the Penn State job is filled up, what about Brian Dable?
I think Brian Dable,
if he doesn't land an NFL offensive coordinator job somewhere else.
I think that's what's going to happen with Dable is in this offseason. You're going to see him get swooped up by somebody real quick for offensive coordinator, because you have to look at when he went to Buffalo, he inherited a Josh Allen. He had a Josh Allen that was a nobody and looked like absolute garbage the first year, and turned him around overnight.
Yeah, see, the Giants have been irrelevant for a long time, so I know that Brian Dable is going to take a lot of the crossfire. But keep in mind that he still communicates with Jackson Dart, and he's trying to help him out even though he's gone. So Brian Dable, even though he hasn't succeeded in the New York Giants, and nobody has in the last several years, he's a name to watch out for. I don't see him as a guy to associate with the Michigan job, but there's a name that he's one of the most respectable coaches out there. He'll land somewhere. Well, good that he can take the rest of the year off and get paid to do it. So I like Brian Dable. It's just a like for the Wolverines job.
The other 2 names I'm hearing thrown around out of the NFL circles, and it's only if they get fired. One is the brother to Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, who's rumored to be on the hot seat of the Baltimore Ravens. And even though the owners say he's not, the writers are saying the seat is warm under Tomlin this season, that with starting out in first place in the division, if they lose it and don't make the playoffs, he may be out.
Yeah. And I was reading somewhere, I think it was on either The Athletic or on the Washington Post, that, given how the Steelers operate, it wouldn't be an outright firing, but it could be either a mutual parting of ways where he takes a year off and then gets back into it, or it could be a trade.
Right.
Question in the chat room, gentlemen. How high of an impact are these playoff games when it comes to player retention? Or is that an afterthought for most teams?
I
I
think
wanted to say
after
it's an impact, because I think ultimately these players want to be playing in these games. We want to be in a position where they can play in big games and win big games. So yeah, I mean, I know money's an impact, but I think also these guys are competitors. They want to win. So
right. My thing is player retention does have a big part of it, because if you think about it, most of your starters are seniors and juniors. Very few are sophomores and freshmen. The the elite are the sophomores and freshmen that start on a college team. Mostly it's juniors and seniors, and all of them are NFL draft ready. The ones that come out to go to the draft, they are the ones that hurt their teams in the college football playoff because they refuse to play in them. And we've seen it happen time and time and again lately. And the team that you think will win it all doesn't.
mhm.
And that's true. You have to sell your players to come back every year, no matter what. It's not like, but again, yeah, for the longest time, coaches have been leaving anyways. They've been going on. Now their players are catching up. Players want to play for a specific coach. I think it'll be interesting to see how the Bryce Underwood situation. But Bryce is a smart kid. He's going to find out who the eventual successor is. You got Tom Brady, who sees what's going on. He's just sizing up from where he's at. Tom Brady will be, if there's ever a time you need him to be an ambassador for the University of Michigan, it's him now to make sure, hey, just put your foot on the brakes a little bit. I saw Rich Eisen on the NFL Network, a big alumnus, and Adam Schefter starting to make some comments as well. So, it's certainly a situation where you have to sell your players every year to come back to you. That's how it is now. You recruit. And it's not a God given that you're there 2, 3, 4 years. And some of these guys are playing their 5th and 6th year somewhere else, anyways. It's a bet. You go where the best place you can to get a job in the NFL, and we're seeing guys play 6, 7 years.
So since we kind of are alluding to it, let's go to the Michigan topic. Let's bring up the facts as we know them right now.
Okay, so we know that Sheronne Moore was fired somewhere between 3:30 and 4:30 p.m. yesterday from the University of Michigan as a coach. We do have statements from agents saying of coaches that they're targeting, and I can't say which ones they are, but they're high on the list. They were talked to by the regents and athletic director of Michigan after Michigan went 4-2 and they almost lost to Northwestern that week. That was when all of this started. So if agents knew that the job was coming open then, Ward Emanuel, the athletic director of Michigan, knew he was firing Sheronne Moore at the end of the year, regardless of what happened with the Ohio State game, which means there was something else underlying. We do know that he had an affair with the executive assistant to the head coach, a graduate student executive at Michigan, Paige Shriver. We do know that his wife knows about it. We do know that when he got home, his wife and him had an argument, and more than likely over said affair, but that is an alleged thing that the argument was over. But we know that the wife reported him to the health and wellness department of the police to look for him because he threatened to unalive himself.
Mm.
And in that type of moment, when you're faced with your wife saying things like divorce and I'll take full custody of the kids and I'll take more than half of everything you get and get alimony and child support and everything else, right after you lost your job, you panic. As a man, you panic. He handled it badly by saying he'd unalive himself. So she put the police on his tail. Allegedly, when he left the house, he broke into said staffer's apartment, and he allegedly held a knife to his own throat and threatened to unalive her as well. 2 hours later, she was able to contact him and get his location by pinging it and sent it to the police to have him pick him up at his church, which means, and it is known that he was at her apartment. It is not known if he broke in. It is not known if he threatened her. And it is all we know is that he was suicidal. He came to his senses and he went to his church because he is a Christian. He is a God-fearing man. And God is all about forgiveness. So more than likely, he went to his church to repent, and he contacted his wife. My heart and my prayers go out to the students that have decided to stay. So far, out of all the recruits that signed on signing day, only the 4-star tight end left. He's the only one that rescinded his commit, and they allowed him to do it with no repercussions. Everyone else has said what we expect Michigan men to say. I came here for the block end and the opportunities they give me beyond football. This is what I've heard and what I read on the Maize and Blue report, which is on the Wolverines.com, ran by Chris Ballast and another gentleman that I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But I follow Chris Ballast. That's why I know. And Bryce Underwood has said he respects the block M. And from what I understand, this is through multiple Michigan fan pages, so this is alleged also. Bryce Underwood after the Northwestern game, because remember that's after he had that 3-game run where everybody was talking about him as a Heisman hopeful because of how good he played with the offensive coordinator was running the team. Sheronne Moore goes where I do to Ward Emanuel. This is what's coming out of the camp that they on fan pages. So I can't say it's a source. I can't say it's true. It's alleged that this is what was said. So I don't think he's going anywhere. Because David Portnoy and his wife spent a lot of money to get Bryce Underwood at Michigan.
So as far as that goes, if anybody else wants to comment on it, you can. If you don't want to, I totally understand. This is still obviously a developing story, and we don't have all of the details out yet. But
well, that's a lot. And you know what?
Yeah.
I like the fact that now you're becoming a journalism guy. Okay, like you have been.
I like
years.
that's why the stuff that respect.
So here's where I'm going with it.
I said alleged.
Yep.
No, I know. You've come a long way writing. Jameer, I know how well you write anyways, but this guy's come a long way. But here's the thing. Number one, Sheronne Moore needs a lot of help. Okay, we know that. But Michigan is a brand. It is an absolute brand. And here's what they're going to attract a top-level coach. That's all there is to it. You need a couple of days for everybody to sort through the debris, because that's what we have right now. And it's unfortunate with all the events that have taken place. And I'm going to be very cautious on what show I use it on Inside the Picture. It won't be this Saturday. And chances are we may touch on a little bit next Tuesday night. But I want to see more information before I dive into this thing. I've got enough topics this year on Inside the Pick that it had more college than I've ever had because of all the drama surrounding the college game. But the reality of the situation is this. Who will the next coach be at Michigan? That's what Bryce Underwood is really looking for. Let me tell you, there are upgrades over Sheronne Moore. This guy's been suspended a couple of times. He's connected with some of the wrongdoing with the previous regime. Now give me a guy very capable of what he's able to do with the blue blood talent you have there. Michigan's rebound won't be as badly as you think it will be, although things don't look at the moment. They really don't.
Exactly.
You rally behind the interim guy right now, because let's not lose sight of the fact that you got Texas. You do. That's a good matchup between two blue bloods. So it's a very good game up in Orlando. So by no means am I putting an indictment on Michigan. I just want more information. You gave about as good of a overview than anybody, Jeremy, based on the fact that it's 12/11/25 and we're only 24 hours into this wide thing. And I'll even take it a step further. I never watch TV in the morning, Candy. I really don't. But I decided to go on Get Up to watch there a little bit and First Take. And I got on when Adam Schefter, Mr. Michigan himself, went ahead and got on, and I wanted to find out because now I got a lot of football shows going forward to keep me busy for a few weeks as we continue to add more to it. And then I went on First Take and even watched a couple more hours. I watched more TV today, 3 hours, than I have in the last 2 or 3 weeks as I continue to work on building this network, because this is too much that you have to watch and listen to other opinions to gain any relevance or conscience of what it really has transpired.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
in the interim, the OC is the head coach again. That's what we do know for right now. They probably will not have a coach by their bowl game, but they will have it by the end of the bowl season. I think they're waiting for either a couple of people to be out of it, if you know what I'm talking about, and available. Because one of the last name on the list, I think they were throw-ins just because they've been throw-ins at once by Michigan fans before. And one of them was Brian Kelly. I think that would be an absolute disaster.
You
Not
too.
get him anywhere near Michigan.
Right.
He did really good in the MAC, but he has not done well in the SEC. And lately, if you look at the SEC versus Big Ten, the Big Ten has the bigger win percentage over SEC teams in bowl games and CFP.
Well, listen, Jeremy, I don't even think that he did that great of a job at Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman's done way better than him there. When Notre Dame was glad that he left to LSU. I didn't think he was. Let me finish. I didn't think he was going to last for 2, 3, 4 years. Let alone the fact that he thought he was going to come up with a Cajun accent that to me is a good ringtone. This guy's crazy.
Alabama coach, the Arizona State coach, Washington coach, and the Notre Dame coach that you just mentioned are targets for Michigan.
Okay. Stay tuned.
Interesting.
And if Marcus Freeze, now think about it, if they're getting a freeze out in Notre Dame, and it's known there's not as much to hold Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame as there was these past 2 seasons.
And you know what? Don't overlook that storyline that Notre Dame's going to get freezed out for what they did. What they did when they bailed out of that bowl game sent a message to everybody. Notre Dame's got egg on their face because of what they did. Okay, you stunned us by dropping out, but now all of a sudden everybody's angry at you.
Didn't they back out of a New Year's Eve bowl? Correct? That's the one they backed out of.
Bowl. Candy and I were there. That's a great bowl game up in Orlando. We were there last year when Miami took on Iowa State. That's a great bowl game.
But it's a New Year's Eve bowl game, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're not talking about the one that's on the weekend in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. You're not talking about the one that's over in the Hawaii Bowl versus Hawaii and whoever.
That's one of the premium bowl games. I've been to that.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at. You're not talking about a little money.
Right. Listen, University of South Florida taking on Old Dominion, a matchup of 2 former Sun Belt Conference schools at the Cure Bowl. All right. And the only thing that has to be cured about that is Alex Golesh goes down to Auburn. His quarterback has decided, I'm going to be an assistant coach. I'm not playing in this game. And that Cure Bowl, anybody that watches that game, to me, needs to go to the doctor because that matchup is ridiculous. USF got that matchup because it's down I-4 to begin with in Orlando. They brought in 28,000 for the game against Rice, which was awful. And I knew Golesh was leaving right then and there, right, Katie, when I put my body language on. And what happened after that was unbelievable. So, that's a game that's the most useless bowl game. And not because it's USF. I'm just talking about games that obviously don't even make it to December 20th. So I understand that Notre Dame would have gone to one of the bigger elite bowls, and the Pop-Tarts Bowl is definitely one of them. That's the one that we were at. I think they have another one with the SEC and and obviously the Big Ten. So, but either way, those 2 of those last 3 bowl games are elite bowls, and Orlando puts on a good show up there. They really, really do. Sorry, Samir, go ahead. I didn't mean to take your thunder, and I feel like I'm taking some of it. I don't normally come on, so go ahead, Samir.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's fine. I was going to say, I think it's a tough situation all around, not only for the program, but also for Sheronne Moore personally. he seems like a good man who made a mistake, and that mistake is ultimately going to cost him and cost him a lot. It's going to cost him his job, going to cost him his family. But I think if you're Michigan, they just fired the AD today, if I'm
Oh,
correct.
did they?
Did
I
they
think
fire him? Because it wasn't made official yet. It was. They,
I think
we
I
talked
saw a
about.
tweet somewhere that they had fired their AD.
I haven't heard yet either, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen. They have an interim president, as I understand it. So they even have an interim president. This actually, what's interesting is LSU was in quandary for a while too with Scott Woodward. They brought in another guy who ultimately landed Kiffin. So the
Okay,
ADs are
there was a report, but I think it got refuted.
It is refuted.
Said
Yeah,
he has not been fired.
we see a lot of that, Samir, these days, which is why until I hear it on a major network, I look at it, I stare at it, not yet. And with us being at the Tribune, where you have media distribution partners and lots of different sources to get information, until I see it from credible sources and writers, Samir and Jeremy, then I tend to look the other way because there's so much fake news these days. That's everything I wasn't brought up with in the industry.
Everything that I have said was brought up by Josh Pate of ESPN.
Okay.
So it is, a guy at ESPN is usually a credible source. So I will leave it at that. He breaks a lot of the seedier stuff through the NCAA stuff. But I agree, Ward Emanuel should be gone because if you look at everything that's happened in Michigan sports, not just football, the Cutter Stallion thing that Sheronne Moore was a part of, the recruiting scandals that Harbaugh and Sheronne Moore are guilty of, the gymnast coach that was found with one of his student athletes in his car outside of the gymnastics stadium, the misogynistic stuff that happened between the hockey players and cheerleaders, all happened under Ward Emanuel's watch as athletic director.
Yeah, the only good move, though, Jeremy and Samir, that he made was hiring Dusty May from Florida Atlantic. That's the only good move that he's made. And I know Dusty real well. He's a good friend of mine. But other than that, you're right. It hasn't been good for the Maize and Blue. And I have a lot of friends connected with the University of U of M, and I'm on their mailing list because I know people, and that's why they send me firsthand information.
Yeah.
So Samir, if I ever go ahead and tag you on a tweet with U of M, then you'll know where I'm getting my information right from.
Definitely.
Everything else. But I get my information, Samir, when I tag you on Twitter from sources that you can use that information. Right. So go ahead.
Yeah. And speaking back to the NFL, for those who aren't paying attention, Atlanta has 13 first downs and 14 penalties. 14.
Yeah. So the record, it was 32 penalties called and 23 expected on the Oakland Raiders versus who? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2016.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're not going to hit 32, but I think there's a good chance they'll set a franchise record for in-game penalties. I know we said it in 2019 under 2019 under Dan Quinn. I think it was against the Colts. Forgot how many.
The year after, or 2 years after the Super Bowl appearance, right?
3 years.
3 years, okay.
Let's see.
Well, there's been 14 called on Atlanta and 13 accepted.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah. Their franchise high was 16 in 2019 against the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, they're well on pace to break that.
They're well on pace to shatter that record.
And they're well on pace to possibly tie the accepted record at 23.
Yep. And I get that the game is close and they're playing hard. If anything, that's an indictment that the pieces are there, but they're undisciplined and they're ultimately poorly coached. When you're on pace to shatter your franchise record for penalties in a game in the third quarter, that falls on coaching.
Just accepted. They are now 3rd and 20.
They're 4th and 20 now. Kirk just threw an incomplete pass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Kirk is doing great, ain't he?
He's having a decent game, actually. He almost had a touchdown. David Sills, who was called up off of the practice squad a couple weeks ago, just dropped a wide open touchdown pass.
Well, keep in mind the Falcons have won 2 of the last 3 meetings between the two, and Kirk Cousins was a pilot for a couple of them.
Yeah, for some reason, whatever it is, Kirk Cousins throughout his career just seems to like playing the Bucks. Started with the you like that game.
Well, so did Barry Sanders. All I watched Barry Sanders do over at the old Tampa Stadium was break 2 80-yard touchdowns. And I actually was staying at the Lions Hotel the night before, and Barry and I were talking. I got along well with Barry Sanders. I was covering the Lions back when Barry was there at the Dome. And I shaking his hand, hope you have a good game. And what do you think happens, Samira and Jeremy and Candy? My buddy Chip Davis at the time is the PR guy for the Bucks. Going back to that. No cheering in the press box. But, of course, when Barry Sanders breaks 2 80-yarder, Chip looks the other way, and he was cheering too. He didn't care. And by the way, Chip Davis is in my book, Lessons from Life, the best PR guy I've ever dealt with. Go ahead, Chip.
They are at 15 penalties and 100 yards now.
15?
According to the team stats on Google, that's total penalties, not accepted.
Oh, so 14
15.
accepted, or is it 13 accepted?
It's 14 accepted now.
Yeah.
15 called.
Wow.
And the time of possession is almost dead even.
Yeah.
The yards are 279 to 260, 212 passing to 204 passing, 67 rushing yards to 56 rushing yards. And the Falcons are actually leading in yards per play. If it wasn't for the penalties, they probably would have 2 more touchdowns.
Yeah. And again, it just shows what I've been saying all season. This is a poorly coached football team. And I think you're seeing it right now.
Hey, Patty, by the way, you're in the chat room. I go to Pop-Tarts Bowl. If I got some free Pop-Tarts, they were not shy about giving us them, right, Candy? We had plenty of them. Do we still have any of those things left? I imagine we have a few left in a box somewhere. I don't know. But they were good. I enjoyed them. I hadn't had Pop-Tarts in a while, but boy, I had plenty of them during the media hospitalities and all that. They were pretty good. I have a couple of here, but.
And I know OSU fans are having fun clowning us on Twitter, the Michigan fan base, the Michigan team. They're clowning us all over the place. I've seen what they said. But you want to know what? I know one thing Michigan doesn't have that OSU has. You know what that is? Vacated wins.
Weren't we doing some predictions, Candy, before we let's see. So yeah, I think Oklahoma, by the way, is going to end up beating Alabama. That's what I think. I forgot about that.
So let's go to the NFL. What game are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I think the first one is the Bills and the Patriots. So the Patriots are coming off their bye. The Bills are coming off that somewhat, if you want to call it, ugly win against the Bengals. I think this past week validated a lot of the concerns about the Bills, especially defensively. Defensively, they give up a lot of big plays, as we saw late in the fourth quarter when Joe Burrow threw that touchdown pass to T. Higgins to get them back in the game. And their offense is Josh Allen and James Cook playing hero ball. They don't have any threats on the outside. I think Dalton Kincaid still might be hurt, or is he back now? But yeah, there's just a lot of concerns about the Buffalo Bills from that standpoint. And the game is in New England. New England's already beaten Buffalo this year. If New England wins, they're going to clinch the AFC East for the first time in 6 years. So I like New England here to win this game and clinch the East. And then my second game is the Lions at the Rams. Brian Branch is out for the season, torn Achilles. It's a big loss for them.
It is,
obviously, in the secondary, especially since Kirby Joseph is still hurt. I like the Rams in this game, but the fascinating part is that the Lions are in trouble, given the fact that the Bears will more than likely beat the Cleveland Browns. But if the Browns upset the Bears and the Lions upset the Rams, the Lions have the tiebreaker over the Bears as of right now. So they spot in the NFC playoff picture. But if the Lions can keep pace the rest of the way where they can find themselves at least a game back, provided Green Bay does end up winning the North, that last playoff spot could possibly come down in that Week 18 game in Chicago with Detroit and the Bears. So that's fascinating.
So
Samir, you really called this season with the Bears because the Bears have.
I said they would win the division before the season started,
mm-hmm.
and that Ben Johnson would win Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sanders and the Browns have a good chance to upset the Bears this week. I put it a pickup game because of the Browns defense and the way that Shedeur Sanders has played at quarterback the last 2 weeks. He has thrown 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, and ran one in. That's a pretty good touchdown to interception ratio for a guy that wasn't playing with the first team for 3/4 of the season. So here's the thing. The breakdown is, let's say the Lions win out at 12-5, 52% chance to still win the division, and 100% in the playoffs, correct? At 11-6, it depends on who they lose to on the odds. If they lose to Pittsburgh and win against the other 3, then it's 13% to win the division, but 97% in the playoffs. If they win everywhere else and lose at Minnesota, it's 14% to win the division and 97% to get in the playoffs. If they lose at the Rams and win all the way out, it's 14% and 94%. And if they win all and then lose to Chicago in Week 18, it goes from 90% to 73%. Because if they lose, it depends on the point differential on whether or not they get in the playoffs over Chicago. And that means that Chicago has to beat us by more than 31 points.
Okay.
I'm just breaking it down. And everything like that gets less than 50%.
Yeah, so somebody on this panel is good with analytics. Okay. Evidently, that's you. So now, what 2 games do you like?
What 2 games do I like?
Yep.
God, let me look at my schedule again because I
now
got it.
Look at the schedule after hitting all those. Yeah.
I just wanted to spell that out. I got it. I'm looking forward to, and it's kind of like a toilet bowl game, is what I like to call it, because I love these. I love it when it's 2 bad teams versus each other. It's the Washington at Giants, because you may not have Jaden Daniels, but it's in dark bet for the Giants. And if the Giants can play 4th quarter defense, they may actually win this game.
Okay. Scott, what games are you looking forward to this weekend?
Well, the Lions have had a couple stinkers this year, but I think that I'd like to see them come up with one against the Rams that isn't a stinker because they need it worse than the Rams to get in the playoffs. So I'm going to look for the Lions and the Rams. And you know what? The other one I really like, I'm definitely looking forward to watching. I think unfortunately they're at the same time. That's why I have picture. I got the Packers and the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos are playing some awfully good football. They really are. You have Sean Payton, okay, good enough for Walmart to buy him. Okay, go to Denver and the Mile High area. And you have the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Packers obviously need this win in the worst way as well. And Denver's on their way of cruising to a divisional title. So those are the 2 games. The Lions need a good win. I love what they're doing offensively. Now, the only thing I have to wonder is if they're picking up some players on the defensive side and what kind of things that Brad Holmes has up his bag of tricks to be able to fortify that secretary. Yeah, I know, Fermi. I know your body language. I can see it. I may be 63 years old, so why don't you go ahead? I've only set you up for that update. Go on, Ulrich.
Okay, so Brad Holmes has made some moves this week. They acquired Jalen Mills, the former Super Bowl champion with the 2018 Philadelphia Eagles, for strong safety. He does play that position quite well. He's been a 2-time Pro Bowler. We signed him straight to the roster, and then we also acquired the Steelers practice squad player who was a former starter, DeMonte Kazee, who has been practicing all week as well. Kirby Joseph practiced yesterday but was off today, but there was no injury designation next to it, which 9 times out of 10 means rest. I wanted to make that clear. Taylor Decker has missed 1 day of practice every week since the beginning of the season. except for the weeks that he missed all of them when he was out. So he's more than likely playing too, because there was no injury designation next to that as well. Alex Anzalone was off yesterday with the illness, but returned to full practice today. And on the sidelines working out was second-year left guard and starter Christian Mahogany, and also Shane Zylstra, who's been on the IR. He's back practicing on the sideline.
Well, the bottom line is the Lions' reinforcements in the secondary can make a contribution, then you're negating the losses of the injuries. How much of an impact, I don't know. But they have no shortage of offensive weapons. They'll go as far as the Tesla kid, to me, intrigues me. I mean, he's a tall target. They're getting him more and more involved. And we all know about Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs and the fact that you have St. Brown and a couple of the other wideouts are doing well. All right, Samir, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all I had. I think in another game is potentially not really, but the Eagles versus the Raiders. And I don't think there's any doubt that the Eagles are going to win this game. I mean, the Raiders, they look like a train wreck, but how they win this game. Is this a get right game for them, or does the offense continue to stagnate? Yeah. What do they look like?
I agree.
Bottom line is the Eagles are on a 3-game losing streak. If you want to get well and you want to get confidence, play the Raiders. It's okay.
How about the Chiefs? Chiefs Chargers.
I'm going to go Chargers roll that one.
I'm sorry. I don't even care if Herbert plays or not. Omarion Hampton's back. He looked really good in that game last week. The offensive line, without both starters playing, hasn't missed a beat. So they won a game that they probably should have lost, that Herbert got hurt in and stayed in the game. And that's why he may miss this week. It's 50-50 if he plays.
Yeah, Chiefs are really, 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 really struggling. They really are.
Yeah,
it's too bad. I mean, they've had a bullseye in their chest, and the problem is they're getting older.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not getting the calls anymore like they were initially.
If you look at the last 6 years, last year with losing in the Super Bowl, Will Vogel, look at that.
Oh, Will, good to see you again. He popped in on last Saturday's Inside the Pick. Good to see Will Vogel. Been a while. All right, good to see you, Will.
Well, anyways, the Chiefs went from being one of the youngest rosters to the oldest rosters overnight in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
The oldest roster in the NFL, coincidentally, is one of the worst ones in the NFL right now in the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, that's not a surprise either.
Well, the good news is we made it to the end of the third quarter without another penalty being called on Atlanta.
Yeah, Bijan Robinson just fumbled. Tampa has the ball near R20, but they just threw an incomplete pass. So third quarter's over. They have the ball 2nd and 10 right near R20.
Jeremy, how many penalties
put this game away?
Does Atlanta have through 3 quarters, by the way?
15.
15, wow.
15. Well, they have 14 accepted. The franchise record in a single game for accepted penalties is 16, and they're on pace to break that.
Really?
Here's the crazy thing, is they only had 9 accepted penalties at halftime, so they got 6 in that quarter.
So the franchise record, you're saying, is 16 accepted?
Yeah.
16 accepted is a single game record for the franchise. They have 14 right now. If they have 3 in the fourth quarter, they break that record.
And the record for any team was set in 2016 versus the Buccaneers by the Oakland Raiders at 23.
That's crazy.
Oh, focus on the present, Jeremy. How many people remember that anyways? Oakland Raiders back in the day, I don't know.
Hey, I just call it like I see it.
I know you call it the way you see it. Oh, you call it the way you research it too. That's how much better you got in this game, pal. Yeah, tell me. Nobody knows you better than I do, Ballrick. That's good. Yeah, it's hard to believe. 15, 14 accepted, 16 game accepted, single game record. Wow.
Well, after the first half, they said the snap count was over for Mike Evans. He has 5 receptions and 122 yards so far.
Yeah. Mike
He had a nice catch over Kobe Bryant earlier, sip a touchdown.
Isn't Kobe Bryant the one that got that interception last week?
No.
No? You're thinking of a different Kobe.
Well, yeah, we have a Kobe Bryant as well. There's one in Seattle and one here.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Oh, that's Seattle's
Yeah.
defense that was so good last week. That's right.
I can only imagine how those names are spelled.
One is Colby, one is Kobe.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, guys, back to one of our famous segments, My Town. Let's do it. Samir, what's happening in your town?
For those who are watching this game, I don't know what else you can say that's already been said. This team has talent. They have pieces. You can see the way they're keeping close with the Bucks, but they are just an extremely poorly coached team as a whole, and you see that. They have as many penalties as they do first downs. They're on pace to shatter their single game franchise record for the most accepted penalties in the game. And the fourth quarter just started. So, yeah, the game is close, but that should tell you everything you need to know.
Well, they
just had another one, pass interference on A.J. Terrell. First and goal, Tampa Bay.
Wow. Okay.
There it is. It tied the franchise record in one play.
Well, they're one back because they're at 15 now. The record is 16.
16 penalties total, yeah.
But look, this tells you everything you need to know. Ian Rappaport, before the game, reported that the owner, Arthur Blank, is evaluating Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot at the end of the season. Arthur Blank, if you're watching this game, I don't know what else there is to evaluate. Clean house. Please clean house. Seriously. There's nothing else to evaluate. But the Atlanta Hawks are currently 14-11. Trae Young is on pace to return pretty soon. Jalen Johnson is playing his way into All-NBA talks, looking like an all-star lock. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been a great pickup. Porzingis is still unreliable, unfortunately. I was excited about that pickup in the offseason. So the Braves are making moves. They signed Mike Yastrzemski, 3-year, $11 million deal. It's going to be platoon DH with him and Drake Baldwin, which all but confirms that Marcelo Ozuna is not coming back. And then they go out and they sign Robert Suarez. He is one of the top relief pitchers / closers in all of Major League Baseball. So based off what I heard, it's going to be Suarez setting up Iglesias closing in the 9th. And with that, we have two of Major League Baseball's leaders in saves since 2023. In Raisel Iglesias and now Robert Suarez, we bolster the bullpen. Joe Jimenez had a setback in his rehab. But still, two good moves that I like by the Braves. They need another starting pitcher, and they need a shortstop. Dubon should be a good utility bench player. He can't be our everyday shortstop. We need a shortstop that can hit. And that's it for my town.
Jeremy, your town.
Well, there was a rumor that came out Monday that Tariq Skubal, that the deal was all but done, that he was going to be traded for a buttload of prospects to the Dodgers as long as there was a long-time deal signed. Tariq Skubal went on and pulled the Lee Corso line on Twitter and said, "Not so fast, my friend." So, whether he's traded or not, I don't care at this point. If he's going to play, let him play. If you're going to pay him, pay him. That's where I'm at on it. And that's directed at Scott Harris and the Detroit Tigers and Mr. Chris Ilitch. Open your checkbook. Quit being cheap. Pay the man. Back-to-back Cy Young winner, and he may never get to that type of level again. But we thought that about a certain other triple crown-winning Cy Young pitcher that we had that we let go, and a year after he's let go, won a World Series with another team in Justin Verlander. So that's where I'm at with that. As far as the Lions, we did pick up Jalen Mills. We picked up DeMonte Kazee. We waived Giovanni Rucci and Ross Dwelly from our tight end room, which if you go look at their PFF scores from the Dallas game, you can see why they were let go. Average NFL players get between a 55 and a 70 for PFF scores. The one got a 28 and the other one got a 33.
Ouch. Ouch. Scott?
Tampa just scored again and got the 2-point conversion.
Okay. Very good. All right.
I like starting the week 1-0 on my pick'ems. I'm sorry.
There you go.
John Robinson having a solid game outside of the fumble for my fantasy playoffs.
I'll take it on my town that theory. Few people even talk about. Well, let's face the reality: the Florida Panthers have won back-to-back Stanley Cups. I don't see them stiff in a third. But here's another championship team and this team's going to be playing in a new building next year, Inter Miami Football Club. Candy and I have covered them from time to time. The reason I didn't cover them this year or finish it last year because the coach didn't speak English and I couldn't get my questions in. But guess what? David Beckham wins his first MLS Cup with, obviously, Lionel Messi. So kudos to Inter Miami. Here's a team that have been playing well. They've obviously gotten it right. And you have a guy like Lionel Messi, and now they're going into a new building with a championship. I'll tell you one thing. South Florida, when it comes to professional soccer, they get it right. David Beckham knew what he was doing. They got off to a rocky start with Inter Miami for a while when they were getting going, but in terms of building a following, but now they have a championship in their pocket, a world-class owner who's willing to bring on Lionel Messi, draw a lot of fans. Even their secondary stadium that used temporary is 18,000, which is better than a lot of stadiums out there. And they're moving into a 25,000 seat Palace in Miami, not too far from the airport. So yeah, kudos to Inter Miami, what they've done. And another thing too, also I want to wish Ray Joseph well. I had an opportunity to interview him over at the Miami Media Day, and I thought this kid was going to be playing a larger role. He does enter the transfer portal. I hope he lands somewhere else. And he's a very talented young player, but Miami's bringing in a lot of good players. And it's just too bad that Ray didn't have an opportunity to be more of a factor. But Candy and I talked to him. He's a great kid. I wish Ray nothing but the best.
So here are the 5 coaches that Michigan are, according to CBS College Football Insiders, that Michigan is looking out real quick. Kalen DeBoer, Marcus Freeman, Lincoln Riley, Jed Fish, and PJ Fleck of Minnesota.
I'll tell you what, Flex from Minnesota to me is an interesting one of that group because we all know what he did with Western Michigan. If there's a guy that I think could take that job, if it were offered to him, Fleck, it to me is a wild card, Jeremy. Thanks for bringing that up.
I think the 3 in the middle, Marcus Freeman, PJ Fleck, and Jed Fish are the best bets out of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the Fleck one, and that one intrigued me the most. You go from Minnesota to Michigan. That's when you really think about wild card. But I still like Lance Leipold if they get that far to him.
So, guys, I do have another question. Phillip Rivers, what are our thoughts?
Wow. I don't know. And I think it's the worst matchup possible. They're playing the number 1 scoring defense, or not number 1, but I think they're playing one of the top scoring defenses in the NFL in the Seattle Seahawks. So not the most ideal matchup for you to be making your return to. But so how for the Hall of Fame, how would that work? So he retired in 2020. I think his eligibility was going to start this year. So now
right, I know where you're going. It would restart again. He has a 5-year window. Once you
so it'd be 2030.
Yeah, correct. That's what would happen. Once you unretire, the cycle starts 5 years later. Mm-hmm. Great question. That's what would happen. He doesn't care. He'll get in. He just wants his kids to see him play now. Can't blame him.
But you know what? Phillip Rivers being signed at 44 years old, a grandfather, father of 11 kids. I'm just curious if sometime around August or September we hear that Taylor Rivers has their 12th.
Thought they were 13.
No, because they had 10, but they had 3 grandchildren already. They did have another baby after. I do know that for a fact.
Yeah, wasn't Brett Favre the last guy that had a grandfather that played in the league, if I heard correctly?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too. So
And
Candy,
before
there you
that, I
go.
believe it was. I think before that it was George, the one that
Blanda?
was the. Yeah,
Well, yeah, he was old enough to play in any area. That guy could have had grandkids all day long. Anyway, that's an
he
old
was
soul.
48 when he played his last game.
Exactly. That's why he was a grandfather. Well, there you go, Candy. Here's a little bit of trivia with Mr. Stat there in the NFL. Jeremy, yeah, you have Brett Favre, you have Philip Rivers, and George Blanda for all you old school people watching us around the network.
There might have been a couple of them older cats that are lost in NFL history that were older playing when it back before it was considered a kid's game.
Mm-hmm. Any other topics we want to bring up, gentlemen?
I do have an interesting piece of Michigan trivia for you.
Okay.
Who was the quarterback that played for Michigan when they had the only season in college football history where they allowed 0 points as a defense
0 points.
0 points.
for an entire season?
I'm assuming this is
They
in
out-
the early 1900s.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay, your answer is none other than the name of the best player in football trophy, George Heisman.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So were you leading with that?
1906. They beat their opponents at the end of the season 255-0 over an 11-game period.
So are you trying to lead up to the fact that there's an award being handed out this weekend that I think is the most overrated award on the planet?
Maybe the most overrated award on the planet, but I believe it goes to none other than Indiana's quarterback, Mendoza.
No brainer.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I knew you were going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
I know you too well, Paul. You are.
You gotta admit, that's a good piece of trivia to bring up before we talk about the Heisman.
1906. Yeah, okay.
That is
And
true.
I know I'm not that old, even though I've been accused of it.
So do you remember the name of the high school coach that got fired when you're on inside the pigskin?
If I remember Conley.
He ain't gonna remember. I have it in my
No.
notes. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. I admit it. I don't remember. I just guessed. It wasn't Conley, was it?
No, I have it in my notes.
Was I even close?
The guy coached out of Oneonta High School in upstate New York.
Yeah, I remember that.
Samir, get this. The guy coaching his guys already still got fired, even though he won a state championship. Go figure.
That's crazy.
It's called Patty Cake, Baker's man coaching. Give me a break. I was going to actually ship you a hat when you mentioned seriously, because I have a really seriously one, and that was probably going to be headed your way, Samir.
GMTA.
Huh?
GMTA.
Yeah, great
He
minds.
needs a hat.
Yeah, I'm with him. Take it out of our expense account when we get bigger.
Okay, guys, I am going to South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book. It's written by Mr. Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. He wrote a book. It talks about the media, talks about his 40 plus years in the industry and how it has evolved and changed. If you know anybody that wants to get involved writing or broadcasting in the media, this is definitely a good gift idea for the holidays. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise, sponsor a show, or be one of the guests, please email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. You see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner? That means you haven't subscribed to us yet. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Like us and share us. And then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk Inside the Pigskin football. Wednesday nights, you never know what Scott's got up his bag of tricks. Thursday night here on Fire Up, typically we talk a lot of football, but you never know. Then on Saturday mornings, Scott started a second episode of Inside the Pigskin. Got to tune in to find out what we talk about, but I can tell you it's a dueling matchup between a former USC Trojan and a UCLA Bruin.
Ooh.
They both played in the NFL too, so tune in Saturday morning to find out.
And guess what, Samir? All three,
is.
and I'll tell you, these three guys on Inside the Pigskin, Samir, just so you know, they all live in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you know what, Samir, what I'm going to have to do one of these days, pal? If you're ever available for a Tuesday show, Jeremy's been on it. I have to get you in there one of these times to bring you on with these Atlanta guys. We'll get you on there. We'll even add a seventh wheel to bring you on. You're going to have Mel Farr, you're going to have Ben Troop, and then you're going to have Marvin Powell. And, of course, Jeremy's been watching them. He's been blending with these guys. They live in Atlanta, Samir. I told you I'm going to hook you up with people. You've been a loyal part of our network. Now I got to get you on with some of these Atlanta guys, let alone Steve Holman Sr., who I even told you about. I got some Atlanta stuff.
Let's see. Mel Farr Jr., former running back number 45 when he was on the practice squad of
Number
the Lions.
16. And kick out of bounds.
Oh, okay. He's keeping us up to date. Good stuff. So
there it is. It's tied. So, and then on top of that, you got Marvin Powell, who was a wide receiver, correct? And a returner.
Well,
and then Ben Troop was a tight end, right?
Right. So, Samir, there's an opening for you, my friend, on Tuesday once in a while, as long as you stay with this Thursday gig with in the country club. And I'll make you feel it only. And by the way, just, Candy's on that show, too. That's anything but a country club, but you don't know the people involved. Because all three of us
he may be the host. He may be the host of the most on Tuesdays, but he needs the best producer in the business in Candy.
Yeah, she's a class by herself. Sure.
Thank you.
So, Samir, here's your opening one of these days on Tuesday night with all the Atlanta boys. We'll fit in real good with you. Never know. They might even bring in one of their NFL PA events out there, and that'll make it really sit in there. I think Jacob Christner went to one of them too, didn't he? Oh, they'll love you, Samir. You're as easy and cool as the other side of the pillow, Stuart Scott would say. I probably took away more of his airtime tonight because I can't shut the heck up, but at least he's standing there and giving us updates. And I have another commitment later on tonight. So you guys are updates are unbelievable stuff.
Samir,
how can people find you?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me on X at ATL_Samir2401. I post a lot of my content and a lot of my articles there on the site. So that's where you can find me. And then you can also find me on Thursday night on Fire Up, number 17, by the way.
Oh, yep.
A record. Raheem Morris.
Well, no, they just declined it. So it's still at 16, but still, I mean, the
17 penalties called, though.
Like, I don't care that the game is close. This is an indictment on Raheem Morris as a head coach.
Never been hired in the first place. What are you talking about?
Look, I'll admit, I was excited when we hired him. I was like, okay, you know what? He was a head coach years ago. He was young then. Let's give him a chance and see what he can do. I think he's kind of like Dennis Allen, where some guys are just meant to be defensive coordinators.
Right.
And he's one of them. He's just not a head coach.
No, great minds thinking like theirs, Samir. No doubt about it. Yeah.
Jeremy, how can people find you?
Well, you can find me here on the South Florida Tribune, which goes live into Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and wherever you get your podcast. And also on YouTube, of course. And you can find my writings with my wonderful publishers and his editor-in-chief up there, Scott Morganroth and Candy Ebling, right on the SouthFloridaTribune.com. And you can also find me on my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions, where I go live every day of the week. And anytime I'm a guest on the show, it goes into my channel. So if you want to hear more than just Lions football, I do more than Lions football.
Yeah, I have a feeling it'll be keeping you busy more ways than you ever imagined, Bo. Rick. You know what I'm talking about. It's okay.
There is one last
He's
There
worthy
is
of it.
one last thing that we want to publicize, and that is, Scott, you have joined Roundtable Sports, and you are going to be covering the Jags, the Bucks, the Nets, and the Sacramento Kings. So 2 NBA teams, 2 NFL teams. Who knows? There could be more to follow. You do little clips every day, and then you do a podcast weekly for all of them. And we're going to get Jeremy in there. He's going to start writing. So roundtables. So for instance, it's jagsroundtable.com, kingsroundtable.com, netsroundtable.com, and bucksroundtable.com. Basically, Roundtable Sports was Sports Illustrated writers formed this site and this business. So definitely check it out. We are definitely a part of it. Proud of you, Scott. You worked hard in this business. And to get this opportunity is great. And Jeremy, I know you're going to roll with it as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, being an executive producer, broadcaster, or something like that, where I like to take things from the ground up and build them, is something I always do. And I will say this, and Samira, I hope you're thinking about this. Anybody that's loyal to my company, I always have plans to broaden their horizons, and you're definitely a guy that I've been paying attention to from a distance. I'm proud of all the progress you've made.
Thank you.
So just keep in mind that I'm always thinking about you in the background, so be prepared when that call comes your direction. Okay, my friend?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
With that being said, anybody else have any last minute stuff besides Jeremy? I know you always close us out.
Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to like. And if you hit that subscribe button, make sure you ring that bell to get all your notifications.
Great stuff.
Sounds great. Everybody enjoy your week. Enjoy sports. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, what's left, and all the penalties.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.